13 names on the list currently of the Chicago Bears inviting people in or asking permission to speak with them for their head coaching job. I wrote down 6 offensive names here: Todd Monken, Joe Brady, Ben Johnson, my guy David Shaw, Mike Kafka, Arthur Smith. Name you the one that you think Bears fans should say go get. Oh, Drew Petzing as well of Arizona. Who do you think is the fit? Who's the fit for the Bears if that's the way they go, to just attach an offensive mind to Caleb Williams?
I think it's really dangerous to get caught up in the we have to attach the offensive mind. I think Chicago is one of those cities that just has to play a certain style of football. They have to. And if you get caught up in we're going to go only look at the offensive perspective, I'll be honest, like a lot of times the people who are the best person for the quarterback aren't like the toughest. They aren't necessarily the guys that are going to bring about the toughest culture that I really believe Chicago has to play in because of the elements that they're consistently in. And so you don't see a lot of quarterback people notorious for being tough asses, And so I think you got to be cautious if you're Chicago, just getting caught in all the, oh my gosh, it's only about Caleb Williams. I understand that it matters. Caleb's remarkably talented. As long as you surround him with good coaching and competent coaching, I think he's going to become a really good player. I just think the overall temperament of that coach, the overall philosophy of how that coach truly believes in how you have to play, not how he says it, but truly believes in the nature of how you have to play should be more important than, man, this guy's X's and O's are really good for the quarterback. And so obviously it's a big group of people. I don't know exactly who I think is the absolute best bet scheme-wise, but I do know that you better be sure that the identity is the best for the offense and the team rather than just Caleb.
Yeah, I know Pete Carroll's being interviewed for the job as well. I know Vrabel.
Yeah, I would say this. I'm not just Chicago. My gut tells me that some of these teams, and I would imagine Chicago's in the group, probably want to talk to Marcus Freeman, Ryan Day, Steve Sarkisian. I would imagine, if one of those coaches at least is going to lose this weekend, I would not be surprised if some of these NFL teams decided to put requests in for those guys, because all of them have, I think, outside of Marcus, some NFL attachment as well.
Yeah. I mean, David Shaw, I love that guy, man. I spent so much time with him on a draft set. I just know the way his brain works. I just know the type of person he is. I mean, he'd be a great face front person in the NFL, and he has the NFL experience as well. Because what you're saying, again, is if you can find a CEO who also has the offensive brain, maybe. I mean, that's why I guess Andy Reid's kind of like a unicorn in a way, right? I mean, or Sean Payton.
And who's going with them? It doesn't have to be this elite play caller. I'm fans of a lot of them. I'm fans of a lot of them. And I always say this to people, the thing that everyone has forever lost sight of when it comes to Sean McVay is he's brilliant football wise. He's a better leader. And that was so evident when I was there in that fall of 2017, and I sat in that first meeting with Sean McVay. You saw, like, this guy controls the room. He gets how to connect with people and relate to guys, the way that he would get on the field and just manage the practice and communicate. And so, yes, brilliant offensively, X's and O's, but like he's got this gravitational leadership skill that is absolutely, at the forefront. So I love these X's and O's, but he better have that as well. It can't just be the X's and O's, because we've fallen victim to that in the NFL. So if they've got both, obviously, but if it's a David Shaw, who's he bringing with him as his offensive guy? Maybe he's got an offensive coordinator that you're like, man, I love this connection with the Caleb Williams and the scheme marriage. And so it doesn't have to be this guy's a great play caller.
So then I guess in the minute I have left with you, the job opening that's the most attractive, what do you think it is? Which one?
Yeah, I think right now it's probably New England. I think you're the guy after the guy, so that's a little bit more appealing.
Right.
Drake May, I think, has shown this year, like, there's a lot of potential for him to be a big-time player. They got a ton of cash. There's some young talent on the roster. It needs to get rebuilt, no doubt about it. I do still think Chicago's a good place. They got to build their line of scrimmage a little bit more offensively. But I think because you have two young, talented quarterbacks, that's probably the place that I'm most intrigued in, because those, all right, I've got guys that I feel have a pretty darn good chance for the future.
Yeah, you're right. So the next head coach there, along with Drake May, will be the coach quarterback after the guys who are after the guys. That's and an ownership group that it can't believe that they're part of the one and done ownership club that wouldn't want to do that again. So know that,
for sure. Yep. And you don't have to follow Bill.
Interesting. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.